Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. So, we're shifting gears. Why is that? Because we ran into a problem. Unity asks us, what will you create first? And we're like, oh man, I got all these great ideas. That's going to be do this and that. And it's going to be awesome. I'll make the newest, best video game in the world. And it says, no, no, you're not. There's not enough storage space to install the editor, right? And it says it requires 13 gigs, and we only have about 2.3 gigs available. So, what are we gonna do now? What are we gonna do now? We are going to go up here, and I want to open this thing called the Disk Usage Analyzer. And so let me show you. Um, Let me show you what I'm doing here. Install settings. Okay, great. Now you can see my disk use analyzer. So, let me find my settings window. And I'm going to open this up. Disk usage analyzer. And that opens up another. Okay, let me resize this. Okay, so that I'm going to change. Let's see, pull settings down to here. And we're going to change the properties of settings now to look at, nope, not terminal, not my desktop icons. Well, should be able to get this devices and locations window. So, okay, let's try this device. There, that's what I want to show you. Okay. Now, we want to see devices and locations under here. And it's calculating all of our space here, right? So, it says 85% of whatever's in here is in our home folder, right? And if you've ever seen the file system, okay, like for example, get me my terminal. And let's get you my terminal too. First we want to pull that down there. Where's my terminal? There's my terminal. So you can see my terminal. Terminal's going to go below settings. Okay. And let me see my disk usage analyzer and my terminal. This is going to be so much easier once I swap everything around and get two monitors over on this station. Okay, so anyway, what are we looking at over on here? We see that 85%, let's just see where we're at. So, I'm sorry, PWD, present print working directory, right? So we're in the home folder for me. Okay? And let's just go to, go to the root directory. Now pwd. How about cd? There, go to the root directory and then pwd. You see, okay, now let's ls this folder, right? This directory. And what do you see in here? Well, you see a thing called var. There's 11% of stuff in var. You see USR. There's hardly anything in there. And there's stuff, but it's like, you know, percentage-wise, it's so small, you know. Maybe 12 megs in the etc folder over here, right? Directory, whatever, right? The root directory, compared to anything else, like has nothing directly in it that's like storing that much. Most of it's in our home folder. 99% of that 85% is in mine. So what is it? Oh my, look, that's a virtual machine that's taking up 3 gigs, but can I expand this out and see better? Let's see. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So what else? Oh, well, that's a video. That's a video. So do we know where these videos are being held? Most of these are just videos. They're videos I've already uploaded. Some of them are like, my resume and stuff, documents. But almost all of these, especially when we get into the stuff that's like, that's 2.5 gig right there, right? So let us now, let me just make that smaller. And let's open up our file system. And let me see if I have let's create a window capture and call it files. Okay. And select a window to capture properties. No, not that. Probably that home folder. Yep. Okay. And let's drag this down a little bit because that's fine. So if I were to get into my files, go into my videos, into my Origami 2, and I don't know if all of these have been uploaded. I think they have. Let's go back in here. They should be. But that's 4.5 gig right there. So we're going to delete all that. Okay. Then we're going to go into our Arduino code basics and my used code in here for all the Arduino videos that I wrote. And there's 2.3 gig. We're going to free that up. Okay. Then we go into my Borderlands 3 videos, which desktop videos, nothing in here. Smart home videos. All of my smart home videos have been posted already, so I can delete those. I didn't catch how much that freed up, but what do I have? Nothing in terminal videos. Nothing in titles. A couple of virtual machine videos that are old, so we'll delete those and free those up. And now let's go to can we go to the trash and what's the total on the trash? Let's see, can we see the total? 14 folders selected containing a total of 44 items, 399 items selected, 191 gigs. So let's empty the trash. That might take a little bit. Okay, now let's go back to our let's refresh and see how bad off we are. 71% is in the homes folder. What's all these? These are all ISO images right here. So I've downloaded these to keep these on my computer so I could load them into virtual machines and stuff. But these are all ISO images, and if you notice, they're huge. They're installation files for like Arch Linux and Fedora, Pop OS, things like that. So I want to keep those. Um, all right, so that's what that folder is. Well, come on, get back over here. I like the way this is graphically presented though. So 46 are in ISO, 44% is in config files. What are these? Code, Arduino IDE, Unity Hub, Inkscape. So all of these are config files for software that I use. Okay. So those are important, right? ISOs and config files. Let's see if we can get this one. Google Chrome, NVIDIA trackers, Evolution, Microsoft. Those are all, that's all cache. But the biggest portion of what I'm using for storage is like right here, the 68 gig for that I'm just using to store operating system alone. And so let's take a quick look and let's go back to our computer and let's see what's 208 gigs, right? So it looks like we're doing a lot better than we were before. Um, let's refresh all of that and see what we see now. I forget where it was when we started, but anyway, I should have half a gig on this storage device, right? So like 500, half a terabyte. So let's, that should not be true anymore. Let's close that out entirely. And let's try to launch 13.3 gig. We should have that space available now. So that's interesting. Let's run disk use analyzer again. Yeah, look, I freed up almost half that amount. Can you see that as well as I can? I don't know if you can. Sorry, let me get that out the way. So yeah, I've freed up more than enough. I've got almost, you know, half of my space available. So now let's run Unity Hub. Okay, I don't know why I'm still getting that warning. And I can't click on that to install it. So let's see what happens when it says skip setup, no projects found. No problem. We can do a new project. We can do install to get started install. Let's not worry about an editor right now. You see, because we can get all of these, but we're not sure which one we want to use yet. Let's just browse real quick. We have a minute. 3D beginner game. We can look at 3D beginner games, tanks, make about it, game jams. Start with Unity Hub. There's a foundational tutorial getting started with Unity Web. There's a lot of resources. Okay. There's licenses. We're using a personal license. Official releases. So you probably look for official releases. Projects are projects that I'm going to make. Add a project from a disk or a repo. That's cool. I think that's new. So we can worry about that later when the time comes. So yeah, it looks like we got Unity installed. It looks like we had to do some it looks like we had to do a little bit of finagling to get it done. This actual video is going to fall under terminal or Linux Ubuntu, because this issue that we solved, we were trying to get access to Unity, but we had to solve a Linux issue first, a storage issue. So this video is going to fall under a Linux Ubuntu storage title. So, but we're going to jump back into Unity. We're going to start looking at projects really soon, and so anyway, we'll keep moving right along.